Some of our favorite high-end stores like Pottery Barn, Kirkland's, and West Elm have released their new fall decor for this year, and let me tell you, it is beautiful. But it is also so expensive. So today, instead of buying those and wasting our money, we are going to take those as inspiration, DIY instead of buy, and save a ton of money when it comes to decorating for fall. You're watching Whiskey and Whit. My name is Whitney, and if you're a Whiskey Craft Buddy, welcome back. I am so glad you are here for another round of dupes. If you're not already a Craft Buddy, no worries. It's super easy to join. Just hit subscribe down below so you won't miss any of my future videos, especially the fall ones, because I am just getting started. People are loving the pumpkin pillows as well as the Pottery Barn Halloween ones. Now, they are selling these things for anywhere from $50 to $89 a pop. I'm going to show you how to make these much less than one of these pillows would cost to buy.
Up first are these cozy pumpkin pillows. The large one goes for $50. I decided to make a medium size and a large size, and I started by going to Joann. I first started in their last chance clearance section because you can find some really good prints and high quality fabric that are just either out of season or they just got new ones. I was able to find this kind of Sherpa teddy bear black in the clearance. And then I did have to go into the Blizzard fleece / Sherpa section to get the colors that I wanted. They didn't have orange, so I decided to go with like an orange fleece blanket material. So I started with the brown and I cut my 1 yard of fabric in half. So this is a ½ yard. I folded it into quarters and used that to cut a rough round shape. This does not have to be perfect. These are also not my best scissors, but once I get it cut, I'm going to use some cotton twine as well as an upholstery needle to string this thing up into more of a pumpkin shape. I'm going around the outside, leaving about a ½ inch to 3/4 inch, and I'm using this needle and thread to weave in and out just to do a running stitch around the outside so that I can essentially cinch it up like a drawstring bag. You want to make sure that you have some extra string on either end so that here, once you stuff it with polyfill or whatever you want to stuff it with, an old pillow, you can take those pieces, cinch it up like a drawstring bag, and then tie it. Then to get those quintessential pumpkin rolls, I'm just taking some more of that twine and wrapping it around, making sure it's tied tight and twisted every time I go from the top to the bottom, and that's going to give you the rolls. Then for the fun whimsy top, I am going to wrap it in that same cotton jute twine, but on the inside I am adding some pipe cleaners. This is going to make it so I can bend it any way I want, and then essentially the pillow is posable. I did that with the white one. I just made a smaller circular shape, and that is what dictates how big or how small your pumpkin is. You can also switch up the size with how much stuffing you put in. So my 2 pillows, if I were to buy them at Pottery Barn, it would have been $89. Mine were $22 to make, which is a 75% savings. Now let's take a quick pause in the pillows to share the quickest and easiest dupe of the whole video. I love these really thick stems, and you can get this look for less with Dollar Tree items. This fall, Dollar Tree has these long eucalyptus stems for only $1.25. So these are regular Dollar Tree, not Dollar Tree Plus. I went with the orange ones, but you could do any of the colors that they have. And you're also going to want some of these pumpkin picks. I just pulled off those green stems from the pumpkin picks and added the eucalyptus stems instead. You can literally pop them on and off. It's like an interchangeable set. I popped them into my little amber glass vase, and this gives you the really full pop of fall color that Pottery Barn one does, but literally one of those tree stems were $75. So you can edit this based on how full or how big of a vase you want to use it in, but so easy. Pop off the green ones, add your eucalyptus, and it looks so much better. And this arrangement was about $10, making it about an 85% savings. And for my Halloween craft buddies, you can do the same thing with some orange fabric, but make it into a jack-o'-lantern. So I did the pumpkin the same way with that orange fleece because I wasn't able to do the Sherpa. I couldn't find it at my Joann's. And I just hand cut with some black fleece a jack-o'-lantern face. Now to get a really thick stem, I'm using some scrap from that fleece and wrapping it around some more pipe cleaners. And then around the fabric, I am wrapping some Dollar Tree jute twine. That is what gave me the bulk inside of my little stem, so then I could also pose it, but it wasn't just the thickness of the pipe cleaners. I'm going to loosely glue the face on just because when I am adding these grooves, I don't want anything to be like pulling, and I'm just adding the strings where I feel like it would sit well. You kind of have to manually move it around the face. But then once I had everything where I wanted it, I made sure the rest of the edges were glued down, and I just attached the top with some hot glue. This thing is so fun, and it saved me so much money instead of buying the Pottery Barn one. And also, I feel like this is a little bit more squishy, and if something happens to it because I have a toddler, I'm not as worried because it's not the Pottery Barn price tag. This Gus the Ghost pillow has been on my list to dupe for a couple years now. They usually just have the ghost, but this year he is holding a little pumpkin, so that was the nudge I needed to do it. I grabbed this pillow insert that I had just sitting around my house. It's an 18 by 18. I tied the center and then tucked the two edges in to kind of give the shape of the ghost. Then I took a half-yard piece of that Sherpa, so I bought a yard, cut it in half, and then I used one for one ghost, one for the other. You're just going to lay it out to get the draping that you want, trim it until it's good, and then I used my upholstery needle and just some white cotton thread from Dollar Tree to kind of do an invisible hook there to make sure that the Sherpa was not going to come off of my pillow form. But you could easily take it off and use that pillow form for something else later. Then that way you could just store the outside part and not have to worry about that. All you have to do after that is add two eyes and bada bing, bada boom. Now, what if you want Gus the Ghost holding a pumpkin? That one's just as easy. I'm going to do a trick to kind of make it look like it's floating with some white twine again. So this cotton twine, I'm just looping it from underneath the one side of Gus to the other side, and I'm tying a knot just underneath the surface of the Sherpa fabric. Then that way it is going to sit there, and it's going to look like his little hands are inside of the sheet that's making him a ghost holding up the pumpkin. And then I just made the little pumpkin with scraps from my JackoLantern and then one pipe cleaner in the top. You can adjust as needed, and these things definitely have stolen my heart. I love them so much. And $85.50 versus my $12, which was an 85% savings. If you know me, there's two things I'm always going to DIY: fake floral arrangements and real floral arrangements. I'm never going to buy them already pre-made. So this one was going for $80 on Kirkland's site. So I grabbed this box for the base from Hobby Lobby, and then you can buy your florals from anywhere. Dollar Tree, Walmart has great flower options right now for fall. Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, all the places. I ended up grabbing my florals at Hobby Lobby just because that's where I got the box, but you can shop wherever you would like to find the cheapest, prettiest florals. The goal here though is to get a bunch that looks like the colors will go together and will fit your overall home aesthetic. So in addition to my box to create a great base, I'm going to add some dry floral foam. You can get this at Dollar Tree. It's super inexpensive. It cuts really easily with a serrated knife, and you can cut it to the shape of your vessel. This is how I do all of my arrangements. Then I'm going to start with some of those eucalyptus stems that I shared earlier from Dollar Tree just to get some color at the base. And to make sure this thing is stable, if it's going in on the right, it's going down into the floral form and to the left. And if it's going in on the left, it's going down and to the right. Here, I'm trying to balance this, but I don't want it to be totally matchy-matchy. And I really liked these picks from Hobby Lobby because it had similar looking pumpkins to the original, and I didn't have to worry about gluing pumpkins on after the fact. You're going to want a mixture of some like showstopper pieces like these pumpkin ones with the little berries as well as the raffia. But then I also got some like these leaves where I can go in after I added my larger pieces and fill in and cover up that floral foam without having to add too much in cost. You can tinker with it until it looks how you want. You can intertwine some of these, move things around, and it's good to go. It's great for a coffee table. It's great for a centerpiece for entertaining. You can just put it on the counter in your kitchen. And DIYing these is a no-brainer because it's so much cheaper. Even with all of the florals, it was still 63% less than buying it at Kirkland's. This wreath was one of the first items that caught my eye when I was looking for items to recreate on the Pottery Barn site, and you can do this using a variety of different Dollar Tree items, which is great. In their plus section, they have this garland, so you can get 9 of these pumpkins for $3, or you can grab picks like this and remove the pumpkins. There's 3 per pick, or you can get 3 of these clip pumpkins, which I prefer because you can clip them right onto your wreath. I tried a bunch of different things before I landed on what I wanted, and I ended up using 12 3-packs of pumpkins total. So I've got 36 pumpkins here in case you're buying in a different store or different pack size. Now the clips are nice because I clipped them all the way around the outside on the second from the outside rung. Then I clipped a bunch on the innermost rung, and I used the remaining pumpkins to glue them on in between to create a look. Now, I originally bought 11 of these, but I ended up grabbing 3 more, so that would make the 12th pack from my stash from last year, just because the ribbon was not doing what I wanted it to do. It was really taking away from the beauty of these bold velvet pumpkins. I really like how this turned out, and the great thing is Dollar Tree has a ton of different options for these pumpkins, so you could do all one color, go the monochromatic look like I did here, or you could do a mixture of colors, a mixture of textures, because they've got velvet and sweater and leather, all the different options, so you could totally customize this to your own home. But if you're looking at price comparison, it is another no-brainer. $89 versus about $16.25, including the wreath form, 82% savings. All right, so this next one, dare I say, is also a hack as well as a high-end inspired dupe. So do you have a bunch of these candles laying around that maybe you burnt halfway last year and you're not sure what to do with them? Well, I know I did. So I decided to grab one of these vessels from Joann, and I like it because it's originally made for food. I got it for $10, so that means it is like oven safe is what it says on the bottom. And so I knew it was going to be perfect for my candles. I took a pot of water and boiled it on my stove, and I put in my half burnt or, not super cute containered candles. And then I grabbed this container from Dollar Tree as well as my one I got from Joann's and added some wicks. I got this set from Amazon for candle making, and I will link it down below. I like it because it comes with these stickers, so you can put your wicks right at the bottom. They won't float away on you, but if you don't have the stickers, you could also use super glue or hot glue just to stick them in the bottom. Then I'm keeping an eye on my wax melting, and once it's fully melted, I'm going to carefully, with a hot pad, be sure you're super careful, take it out of the pan. I'm putting it on a hot pad, and then I'm just pouring this right into my little pumpkin vessel here. Now you want to make sure you hold your wicks up as this is hardening, just so then that way they aren't going to fall over on you. I poured without the little holder, and then I added it because obviously it's not going to cool in 2 seconds. I had a little bit of an oopsie here, and that's why I'm glad that I had a little towel on my counter, but I would recommend putting down either some foil or parchment paper, then that way you don't ruin the towel like I did. So Whit tip, word to the wise. I was able to combine 2 half-used candles from last year in the same scent from Walmart, which is awesome because then I'm giving this new life, and then those containers can also be rinsed out and used for something else. I know my friends Shannon from the Daily DIYer as well as Sarah Jane from Chic on the Cheap have done Dollar Tree versions of these candles, and I wanted to do my spin on it to use a Walmart or secondhand or gently used candle that you want to give new life, because that will help get clutter out of your home as well, and we're all for that. So $59 versus about $12 if you buy everything, 80% savings. Last year, one of my favorite dupes were these handmade terracotta jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. I made an entire set for my mantle. It turned out so good, and it was perfect for my Halloween decor. Well, of course, this year when they came out with a kind of black charcoal version, I had to do that too. So I went to Michael's and grabbed this large pumpkin. It's originally $29.99, but I got it 30% off, and I had a little voucher coupon because I spend a lot of money on craft supplies at Michael's apparently. I grabbed a small one from Michael's, and I also grabbed this $10 one from Marshall's. Now, what I really like about these is that they don't have like the scary spooky face, because at our house we do fun spooky. I have a toddler, like I mentioned, and also I'm not big into the like super spooky Halloween. Like, I like Hocus Pocus the movie. Like, I'm not trying to watch like super scary stuff. I just like fun, like let's put on a costume Halloween, not like, super spooky Halloween. I digress, but we're going to mix some baking soda for this first layer with some just black acrylic paint. This is regular old baking soda, and I added a decent amount because you want this to be thick. That is going to give you the texture of stone pottery versus this glazed ceramic. Same thing with this other one. We're going to cover them fully, and you also want to make sure you get in the eyes, nose, mouth, make sure all of those areas are covered completely. Here's what it looks like. You're going to have chunks in your paint, and that is what you want because you want it to look nice and rustic and aged and all that fun stuff. So here's what it looks like when I let them completely dry. And then I decided to add a little bit of orange paint to the inside of this one. Now, I probably should have done this before I painted the outside black. That would have made life a lot easier, but hindsight's 2020. But I just stuck my paintbrush up through the bottom where you could add a light and painted the inside orange to match the inspo. I also added a little bit of sand and flour on a little bit of wet paint at the top just to give it a little extra oomph. And you probably could do without the flour, but I just used a little bit of sand from Finn's Sandbox and it added just a little more grit to the top. I love this look. It definitely screams quintessential Pottery Barn to me without the Pottery Barn price, which is all what we're going for here. Like, everybody works hard for their money. We want to have nicely decorated homes, but we don't want to blow our money on, you know, crazy spend stuff. I guess I'm saying a collective we. That's how I feel. Let me know down below if you agree and feel the same way. But I love saving, but getting that look as well. So their large one was $89. So just for one pumpkin, mine $21. So 75% off. This next one's going to be a little bit of a freestyle remix because it's not an exact dupe, but it is inspired. So to make this, I grabbed 2 of these $3 square wood panels from the Dollar Tree Plus section. This is a must buy if you need a wood sign. These are a great deal for $3 at Dollar Tree. I'm going to stain them in the color Driftwood, and I'm going to grab some of this Dry Decks spackling. I had some left over from my recent plywood video. If you haven't seen that, there's some fun fall DIYs in there. I also used the Dry Decks to make a really fun, like 3D art piece, and I wanted to do a fall one here. So I'm just starting by roughly drawing out a pumpkin, and I'm also going to draw out roughly a maple leaf on my second one. You could also stencil this out, but I just wanted it to kind of look more modern and kind of natural, so I just went with the sketching. I'm also trying to force myself to do more things by hand, just because I think if you don't do it, then you're never gonna, you know, grow that skill. Then I'm taking this little artist knife that I got from Amazon for that plywood project for the waves, and I'm just applying the spackling. It's going to go on pink, but it's going to dry white, and I originally just kind of wipe it on, and then I'm using my little putty knife to straighten it out, add any grooves or 3D effects that I want. I let it dry overnight, and then I'm just using a mixture of water and some acrylic paint to paint my pumpkin orange. I did a mixture of orange and then a little bit of brown, and the water is really going to help allow you to meld the colors together, and it kind of gives you more of a watercolor painting technique versus an acrylic because it just really helps it blend. I'm adding the brown shadows to the corners as well as that center oval, as you can see here, just so it starts to look more really 3D with the pumpkin. My last step was to add some brown paint to the little stem at the top, and I also kind of blended that in with the orange, and voila! I think this turned out so fun, and this would be a great project to do with kids as well. Like, this is a great, like, late elementary, like, junior high project for them to do. And I love the pumpkin so much, I decided to do a leaf, and let me show you. The one left side, yes, it got a little wonky on me, but once I painted it, nothing in nature is perfect, and I think that is beautiful, and that's a great thing about it, especially with fall. So I'm trying to let go a little bit of my perfectionist in me and just say, you know, this is abstract, and honestly, the more I painted it, the more I liked it. I did the water painting technique with this as well, but I did a mixture of red and orange to really get that really pretty fall color to add a pop to the decor. And then before I let my spackling dry, I added some lines for the veins of the leaf, and then I buffed it in after I added some white into those crevices just so it wasn't as harsh. And here it is. I think this is a really fun piece just to add to a vignette, and it's also a great pop of color. I really like those Kirkland's ones, but they were a little too neutral for me, so I added the color, like I said, and did a remix. It's not really an apples to apples comparison, but if it was, it'd be 80% off. A couple weeks ago, I was scrolling through TikTok, and this popped up. Finn saw it and asked if we could get one. Well, it was $129, so I thought, okay, I don't want to say no, so I just said, how about we make one? I went to Michael's and grabbed a white and orange version of these tall pumpkins, and I grabbed 4 of these ladles from Dollar Tree. Now, if you're only making one pumpkin, you only need 2 ladles. I'm making 2 of these here. I'm using my tin snips to cut off the top ladle part because for the ears of this Mickey pumpkin, I didn't want to use foam or cardboard because I didn't think it would match as well. I wanted to try to get a plastic, and that worked perfect. Now I've got a free printable face for you over on my blog. You can literally print it out and not have to worry about sizing it if you're using the same size pumpkins as I am. I just traced it onto the front of my pumpkin, and I also did it on the front of my white pumpkin. Then to cut these out, I used this professional hot knife I got from Michael's. This is not necessary. It definitely made it a lot easier, but you could easily do it with a pumpkin carving kit or a serrated knife from your kitchen. This was nice though because it made clean cuts and it made the job go by a lot quicker. I just carefully waited for it to heat up, and then also, again, carefully is the key word here, went through, and I had to get a little trial and error because I had never used one before, but once I did, I was able to easily cut this out. And I also think that the more simple you keep your shape, like this face was really simple, it won't cause a huge issue for you. The last step that I needed to do was add a hole in the back, just a regular shape for some lights, and then I cut 2 slits on either side of the head so I could add my little ladle pieces. That was a lot of trial and error. I just cut it so that my pieces would fit in there and then hooked them in with hot glue. For the white face, I covered the inside with black just because the white on white wasn't standing out as much as I wanted, but the white on orange worked just fine. Now I plan to add a tea light candle to the white ghost Mickey pumpkin, but this one I wanted it to glow like the inspiration. And I was like, how am I going to do this? Well, I decided to try to put in a little bit of yellow tissue paper. I added this pack of orange lights from Dollar Tree that you can just plug in. And I added a couple dabs of hot glue right on the inside of the mouth and the eyes, and I carefully hooked the tissue paper to it. I tried to use double stick tape, but that didn't work, but the glue held it in the perfect spot. And then it was time to check with Finn to see if he approved.
Emails the pumpkin.
He definitely loves this thing and asks me to plug it in all the time now. I need to add the tea light candle, like I said, to the white one. It was a very straightforward, simple project, and I'm really happy with how the ladle ears turned out as well. Let me know down below, are you a Disney Halloween fan? I used to be a little bit, but now that I've got a toddler, we are full send on that one.
That's going to do it for this installment of Dupes. Be sure to let me know down in the comments which project was your favorite, and if you plan on recreating any of these. It is quite insane once you sit down and think about what the price difference is between DIY and buy. And I hear from you guys all the time that you like the dupes sometimes better than the original, which makes me so happy, so I hope this did the same. Be sure to hit subscribe if you're new so you don't miss any future fall videos I've got coming out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!